Welcome to Brocolo Garden Center. I'm Lori Brocolo, and I'm with our general manager, Jessica Damasio. And we are going to talk about how to incorporate orchards, edible plants into your backyard or into your landscape. And it's a lot to do.
So I was kind of curious as I saw Lori bringing plants over, why you were bringing different, height things and kind of layering them here. And you said it's all about layering.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
The term permaculture is becoming quite popular, but indigenous people have been doing this forever as part of their farming. They put together plants like corn, for example, that is tall, but in the middle they'll put the beans that grow really tall and they'll have bean poles. And then what's really interesting about those two plants is corn sucks up a lot of nitrogen, but beans will actually replenish and help create nitrogen into the soil. And then the three sisters are the corn, the beans, and squash, because squash are fillers. So the thriller is the bean, the filler is the corn, and then the spiller is the low-growing squash. So we take that same concept, not too many people grow corn anymore, but take that same concept with your orchards. Instead of having one plant that you have to mow around and all of that, you can start creating layering of plants. You've got the top canopy of a cherry tree, apple tree, any kind of fruit tree, it doesn't really matter. And then you have filler plants that still get quite large. That would be things like elderberry. And then maybe Jess will talk about what we do with elderberry. But we also have blueberries, the high bush blueberries, low-growing raspberries, and of course we have taller raspberries.
And some strawberries way down low.
Yeah, strawberries. Oh, what's the other one? Cucumber. Any of those squashes.
Cucumbers and squashes.
Yeah.
Exactly. But this one I actually got a little excited about when I looked at it, and I realized you had hops here. Which, when people think of hops, they usually think of the beer that they're drinking and the weekends only.
This is another guy plant.
Yeah.
They love it. Even if they don't make the beer.
Right.
It's just the idea that they're growing hops. And it is absolutely a beautiful flower itself.
Yeah.
That you can use in arrangements.
Absolutely.
And I'm wondering about dipping it into even, different cocktails or something. I'm not
what you can also do with hops, and I've seen people do this very successfully, is because it is a climbing plant, it's a viney plant. You can cover archways with hops, and it's not just, you're not tied to just using clematis or morning glory to cover those trellises and those arbors. Using something like hops really does grow fast, really, doesn't it?
It does.
In one season, it can grow.
And then you cut it back, and it comes back every year. That's the other great thing about all the plants that we're talking about, other than some of the squashes and some of the other vegetables, most of the herbs. So another thing you could plant is sage. Sage is one of my favorites. My girlfriend she still does, she puts them on turkey, but now I have my own sage plant, and every time I have a turkey burger, I grill that sage leaf right on with that.
Oh, wonderful. Very good with ravioli and a butter sauce too. So let's talk about a little bit about the fruit trees though more, Lori, where, I'm noticing there's different varieties of cherry trees here. Now, what do you need to do to make a tree produce fruit?
So most of the cherry trees, and I'm still learning, there's so much to learn about all the self-pollinators and what needs cross-pollination. The cherries need another cherry tree. They both bloom around the same time, and they have better success when there's another type nearby. The blueberries are similar to that. So I have Patriot and Blue Jay to mix in, but they are also self-pollinating.
Okay.
So, but to increase your success, adding a few varieties.
I see.
The apple trees are pretty much all self-pollinating, and the pear trees as well. The peaches, they're just so delicious. I'm looking at this right here, and if they're not sold by August, this is where we as employees come out and pick the peaches. We pick the cherries that have come out earlier. we start eating those blueberries and strawberries every day.
Oh yeah.
You know, before customers grab them and
We
buy
do.
them.
and I see, like, so we've got like a Bing cherry here now. That's going to be more tart than the Sweetheart cherry. But if you plant the two of them together, you'll have more fruitful trees.
Yes.
And then, you know, varying types of varieties, so you can get the sweet and the tart, which is, if I'm making a pie, I like to have a little bit of both.
Okay.
So it really kind of balances out well that way. And you know what, these fruit trees, how much space do you really need?
More of them are dwarf.
Okay.
So you don't need those huge space areas anymore, and more of them kind of just grow columnar and stay short, but they are so full, absolutely full, that especially like the pear trees and the apples, they really just kind of hang with the fruit. So actually it's a good idea to do some pruning, so there is some maintenance.
Right.
Cutting things back to help strengthen, to thin them out a little bit. If you have like too many apples, you'll have a lot of small ones, but if you cut out some of the formed apples before they get too far along, then you'll create larger apples, depending on the variety, of course. And the thing that I'm starting to get a lot more questions on is what kind of nut plants can we put in our yards? And there's native hazelnut, and I love this purple foliage too.
Wow, I love the purple contrast.
So we get native plants that we can incorporate, and nativars, which is a cultivar of a native plant, it still does the same thing in the environment. And there's just so many choices.
So, and really, ultimately, this goes to the people like living in the city of Rochester. This isn't just for suburb dwellers. You know, any space you have, you can, you know, grow your own food in. And if you just take that layering concept and apply it to, you know, an 8 by 10 area, you can be very fruitful.